pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Garrett. Here. Trustee Trombley.
Here.
Trustee Trombley.
Here.
Mayor Martin.
Here.
And Trustee McFetrich, she's excused.
Okay, need a motion to approve the meeting, minutes of the meeting for June 11th.
So moved.
For a second.
You could abstain or not here.
Is it June 11th or June 9th?
June 9th.
June 9th. All right. Any additions, deletions, changes? in the
We only
minutes?
had two seconded.
Jim did. Any discussion on the minutes?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll have to carry the May 20th special board meeting minutes over until the August meeting, since Janet is not here. Okay. Presentation of petitions, communications, notices, general question period, members of the community.
I sat down with Greg at lunchtime regarding the chicken issue. I have, back in November, I filed a notice of petition with the Supreme Court of New York that basically keeping my rights open to take the issue to the next level. And that will kind of come to the end of my 9-month period, so I either need to move forward or not. And I want to take this opportunity to throw out an idea. I think we have an opportunity to bury the hatchet and let this issue lie. Simply by kind of doing nothing. It turns out I was never issued a ticket. Mike sent me a letter. He didn't issue me a ticket. So there really isn't anything to undo, per se. But if I'm going to give up my right to appeal, I would just want assurances from the board that I won't get a ticket. So it was, came up with the idea, as if the board made a simple resolution that they weren't going to pursue me on the issue, then I would shake hands and say, we're not going to appellate court. I thought it was an opportunity. It's good for the village, it's good for me. Everybody wins, and we can walk away. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. That's your prerogative. I've got my CPLR, I've got my appellate brief all written. It's all ready to go. I got tons of case law. So did Greg share the proposed?
Yes, they've all been copied with this.
Okay.
Steve, we explain the context, this sentence here. No appearance ticket will be issued so long as, and I quote, the context and scope of keeping these domesticated animals remain as accessory to his residence.
Would you like me to elaborate on,
Yes, please.
on that? Accessory uses in the code, and feel free to chime in if you agree or don't agree with that. They are limited to activities which are, bear with me, subordinate to and incidental to the primary use of the property. What that means is you can have a driveway because that supports your house, but you can't have a parking facility. You're allowed to have a swimming pool, but you're not allowed to have, an Olympic lap facility with 30-foot towers. Right? I'm in no way asking the village to say that people can open chicken farms. I've never said that, I never thought that that was appropriate. So I just wanted to be clear that we're just talking about accessory uses, those which are within the scope of personal use. That's all. Because I don't want anybody to think that because Steve can keep 6 hens, that means people can open a farm. I never had a farm, never intended to have a farm. There are other folks in the village who do have commercial animal activities. And I'm not sure that that's entirely right.
Well, I'm not asking you to tell me where they are, but.
Oh, I think everybody knows.
Can I ask, do you currently have chickens here at your house?
Absolutely.
Okay,
They never went away.
all right. Mike, do you want to explain this appearance ticket thing as we talked about?
The appearance ticket would have been issued after I sent Steve the letter, basically a notice of violation. At that time, he chose to appeal my decision to the zoning board for an interpretation, where the zoning board rendered their decision on keeping of chickens was not in accordance to the code as they saw fit. So no appearance ticket was needed. Now, after that, he was allowed to, he had the opportunity to appeal to the Supreme Court here in the county, which he did under Article 78. And he was also denied there also. So as of right now, if he has chickens, like he says, yes, an appearance ticket could be issued.
So it's now after the.
Right, there's
after
no
the
more,
appeal was with the zoning board.
right, there's no more litigation going on at this
And
time.
in November, I filed a notice of petition with the appellate court to say an appeal is coming.
Mhm. And it had to be within a time frame.
There's a 9-month time frame on that.
Okay. All right. Does the board have any questions here? Well, as Steve mentioned, I had a discussion with him this afternoon. My feeling on this, and I think I shared this with you, Steve, is that we need to, first of all, we need to get a village attorney on board to replace Mr. Marshall, who has retired and has stopped serving the village. And once we get that taken care of, then I would recommend that we run this by the attorney for his or her clarification here, what they feel is the village's legal response to this. And I think I shared that with you, just so that all parties are taken care of here and all parties are on firm ground.
All right, well,
It's going to take me a while to get a village attorney, and I think I shared that with you.
And I have a commitment to go to Kentucky last week of the month for a mission trip. But, so I need to really wrap this up for that, either move forward with the appeal, or, if we can find a way to, move on without wasting village resources on
You mentioned the idea
on a
that,
pretty unimportant.
well, from a financial standpoint, I see both sides of this. But you also mentioned the possibility of applying for an extension. Is that still?
Basically, that's gotta happen. Well, I don't know if I go to the trouble of making a motion with the appellate court, I'm gonna make a motion that the Supreme Court accept the stipulation of the record based on what was entered in the lower court, and allow us to move forward based on that. And if they're not willing to do that, at least provide an extension. But I'm gonna ask for stipulation from the lower court in the absence of the village attorney.
Okay. So that'll still keep you within the time frame. And once we have a village attorney on board that has a chance to review this material, I'd hate to have somebody come in cold, so to speak. And then we can
Well, I'm,
move forward from that point.
please give me an answer for the end of next week.
Well, we'll try. We're going to discuss the village attorney tonight, and we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
All right?
Cool, thank you for hearing me out, appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
I think, hope we can get this done without pain. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
Mr. Marshall's turn.
As of
June 1st.
June 1st, he started closing his office. Last Monday was the last day that he would accept phone calls at his office. He has assured me that he will still, in cases of emergency or in cases of need, he will still represent the village.
Would he be willing to finish this out?
Well, that's, I got the feeling in discussion with him that he would rather have a new attorney take this.
Okay.
But if worse comes to worse and push comes to shove, then this is going to be a very expensive venture. This is not, as the first Court of Appeals, this one will be very expensive to me. But I feel that we have to represent the village and the zoning board and the first appeal court and see this through. So. But that's a board decision. If you want, we can move on to new business, discuss the appointment of a new attorney at this point. Mike, you don't mind waiting a few minutes?
No, I'm here for the duration.
All right, thank you. I asked Mr. Marshall to recommend some attorneys that would possibly take his place. He recommended two. I looked at both of the recommendations, and I feel that one stood out head and shoulders above the other in terms of municipal law knowledge. I think that's the person that we need in this seat at the moment, and for the duration, is someone who is well versed in municipal law. I talked to this individual today. He is agreeable. He serves on a variety of zoning and planning boards throughout the county. His name is Thomas Murnane. He is the Village of Rouse's Point's attorney.
Yes.
He is representing the town on the zoning board. He mentioned 3 or 4 others, Schuyler Falls, Peru,
Town of Mars.
Town of Moores, all of which, in fact, I asked him when he had time to eat and sleep, but, you know. But he is well versed in municipal law. I explained the need for some legal advice. We have a couple cases that are in the court process now. I had a discussion with one of the local judges who said we need a village attorney as quick as possible because these cases that you have issued, Mike has issued appearance tickets to, will be dismissed unless you have an attorney that comes in and deals with the cases. I know to deal with lawn mowing and things like that, but they are still what we decided to do, and I need to share some information on another case when I come back to this. But anyway, I talked to Mr. Murnane. He was more than willing to join the village as the village attorney. He was more than willing to come up and talk with us. It's the board's decision. I don't know of any other attorney that has the experience that this man has. I told him how we put a salary in the budget. That seemed to be agreeable to him. He said that if the board requests, he will be at all the meetings that he can possibly be at, which is a change from what we've seen in the past. And I think he has talked to Dave Marshall about a couple of our cases, about a couple of our circumstances, and he thought that they were quite interesting, and he would be more than willing to defend them. So it's a board decision. I told him I would bring it up tonight. I know this is a quick call, but I told him I would bring it up tonight and let him know tomorrow if we've decided one way or the other, if we want to continue to search. That's okay, but you see where time is of the essence here in some regards.
He has an excellent reputation.
Yeah, I think he
Where's his
is.
office?
Stafford. Stafford Law Firm.
That's what he makes it familiar.
And he was very easy to talk to. He was very open, very upfront. He wasn't hesitant in any way, shape, manner. He seemed to be agreeable to, some of the salaries and, some of the things that we have set and survived with in the past.
Mike, do you have any feedback on experience with him from Rouse's Point?
I have a lot of experience with Mr. Renee, all of it good.
Okay.
I don't have a bad thing to say about the guy or his work, so I highly recommend him. He's very knowledgeable on zoning, subdivision, planning board issues.
And that was another thing, excuse me, I didn't mean to bring it up, but that was another thing. In the past, there was a feeling that our attorney was representing the village board and not the zoning and planning board, so that was extra. I pointedly asked that question to him, and he said that he had no reserve, he would represent the village as the village and all the village issues in its entirety.
Nice.
Yeah.
So.
Make a motion that we hire Tom Rennie as the village attorney.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this, any further discussion on this?
Thank you, Mayor Martin, for doing the
No,
legwork.
thank you, Lynn.
It's, some of the calls I got today were not dealing with codes and with codes. I got run up one side and down the other. Well, anyway, before we go,
I thought you looked a few pounds lighter,
well, I need a roll call vote on this.
especially off the backside.
I won't stand up again.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Trombley. Aye. Mayor Martin.
I will call him tomorrow and iron out the details.
Thanks, Dave.
If we could just do one more thing, and I have a recommendation here. If you look at your correspondence and correspondence number 5, Mr. Luciano Wheeler, called me today and went up one side and down the other. I can't find it.
The same thing, stick up.
Yeah.
Did I bring it? Oh, I got the wrong packet here. Sorry.
This one?
No, I got it here. I just had the wrong packet. Mr. Wheeler called me and was very upset because he was issued an appearance.
He called me before he called you.
Yeah, well, he's,
How you doing?
I'm used to it.
well, he called and stated that he thought that it was unfair. He had been issued a letter, a warning letter in the past. Was it 2012?
I believe so.
Okay, so
12, 15.
what we've been doing here is if we issued a warning letter, then the next step, without reissuing warning letters to people who frequently do not meet the code requirements, then we would issue a appearance ticket. And he was very upset that we went from, and I'm sure he explained this to you, we went from 2012 to 2014. Now, ironically, the same day that we were preparing to send him this.
That was the same day that we mailed it.
It was the same day that we mailed it because it cost about $16 or something. Anyway, the lawn was being mowed.
He was
after the
here in
mail.
town.
We didn't know it, but the lawn was being mowed. So I have no issue, no qualms whatsoever with what Mike's doing. And I think it was the board's desire to do this, if I remember the conversations in the past.
The one thing that Mr. Luciano or Weiler didn't mention is, yes, I formally sent him a notice of violation in 2012,
Yes.
but I spoke to him on at least 3 different occasions about property maintenance issues around there where there is no formal record or paper in the file.
Yeah.
So, and I explained that to him, that, yes, you got your paper in 2012, but how many times have I talked to you about your property in the brush and this or that? He says, but I've always cleaned it up. I says, well, how many times do I have to do it? I says, you knew the 1st of May the grass was growing that needed to be cut? He says, well, my tractor's broke. Well, you know,
That's, to me, that's not a reasonable excuse.
no.
But he now has an agreement with someone in the back that has his lawn tractor and is gonna keep his grass mowed.
That's fine, just keep the grass cut, I don't care how you do it.
As long as he does it. So I guess, if, I think we're on the right track here. But what I would like to recommend is that we have a 1-year moratorium. That if you issue a ticket in 2014, next year, not, you know, the 2 or the 3 years. And I understand you making the phone calls, but we don't have a record.
Right.
I mean, a paper trail.
Can we, at this point, starting forward, when you make a call, you create a paper trail that you called so-and-so on this date at this time and put it in the file and we're copied with it?
I can
Because
do all,
this is a game people are
I
playing.
know, but I can do all that, but I'm only here 6 hours a week, so this takes a lot of my time. I mean, just to prepare this paperwork for the court for him takes me all of 2 hours, and then whatever it costs, the filing fees and all.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel sorry for the guy because he came and cut it the day that it happened to be processed. But on the other hand, I feel that if he goes to court, whatever the court deems is a fine, if they do fine him, next year and in the future, these people are gonna remember that. I mean, this game has to stop, I think.
I
mean,
agree.
if that's what you want me to do, just to take care of grass issues, I can do that.
See,
But,
I don't agree with all the phone calls. I don't agree with it. It's very nice, but people should not have to be reminded to cut their lawns.
I totally agree on that, but if he's saying that we've got to put this 1-year moratorium on it, I mean, it's a chronic offender.
No.
I don't think that we
Moratorium
need
is
to
not
keep.
the right term, I guess. What I'm asking is, if
If
Mike,
1 year
if
you
Mike
send
sends a
him a letter.
warning in 2013, fine. The person has, well, we sent you a letter last year, this is your warning letter, now we're going to do the appearance tickets. Longer than that, I think we need to send them a letter after that. You know, if it's 2012 or 11 or whatever, yes, the guy's a
Basically start-
habitual offender.
okay.
I think he realizes that. But we need to give them, you know, a time frame so that,
So basically start the process over. If it was from 2012 to now, maybe we
Send them a letter.
should send them a letter and then the appearance ticket.
yes,
But people know that they need to maintain their properties. They
I
shouldn't,
agree
they shouldn't
100%.
need you, Mike, calling them to remind them. I
that's-
personally think
that's
it's a
what my
waste
goal
of
is.
time, because these people are property owners. They know they need to maintain this.
yes.
Well, I also think it's a waste of time to resend another letter, because then we have to wait 6 weeks for it to be to the height.
Yeah.
And then the whole season's shot again, and all the homeowners around are, to put it bluntly, I can't
Very
say that on
upset.
TV, very upset.
Well, I agree with you, but I
And
mean,
it's not fair.
It's the time frame. I mean,
Yeah, but if you send them a letter this year, and then all of a sudden they start cleaning their lawn, and then next year it starts all over again, then you send them up an appearance
Then
ticket
reappearance.
rather than a warning.
Yes.
I just think that there's a length of time that we have to be.
Can't we word the letter that states, this is your notice, you are a landowner, and we expect now and in the future that your lawn will be maintained at all times.
I agree with it.
And if after that point you do not do it, we will jump to the next level directly as appearance ticket. Do not pass go, do not collect $200.
If you put that directly
If we
in the
put it
letter.
in the letter stipulating that, then we can stop playing these games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have to give them the 30 days? Is that village code that we have to give them 30 days?
To respond to it or
to deal with it? I mean, if we send them a letter, do we have to give them 30 days to respond?
Well-
Or to take care of the issue?
In discussing this with Tom in the past and issues in Rouse's Point, he always maintained 30 days, where I always worded the notice of violations to be, you have to be in compliance immediately. In other words, I want something done now.
Yeah,
I've never had to go to court based on that, but Tom's always told me 30 days.
well, I think that would be a stronger letter to say, take care of it, this is your only warning.
Yeah.
Take care of it.
As long as you own the property.
Yeah.
But you have to give them some sort of, I think you have to give them some sort of date that says if it's not done in 2 weeks or 10 days, maybe we need to send them a registered letter. If it's not done in 10 days, an appearance
Yeah.
ticket will be issued.
How about the June water bill? Make something on the June water bill and send it.
It's already out, but yeah, next time,
No, that's what I mean, in the
Yeah.
future.
yeah. I mean, I don't want to see the village put in a situation as we have in the past where we have to go hire a private contractor
Right.
to mow the grass. And I think I think it's a good way. I just would like to see I don't know if it's fairness or whatever, but send them a letter.
And the cost of these appearance tickets and all this other stuff are all the villagers paying for this, or does it go back to them? Because they did not do what they were supposed to do.
I don't think that's part of the fine. They're fine.
No, the fine is dictated by whatever is in the village code. I think it's $100 minimum for the first offense, 200 maximum. Second offense is 200 to 500, I believe.
And I think some of that money goes back to the village.
Yeah, some of it does. I'm not sure how much, but
Once it goes through the judicial process, goes to the state, goes here, and then some of it comes back to us.
but in the
Same
case,
as all the things, speeding tickets, DWI stuff.
but in the case of a trial, obviously the village has to pay for the attorney. And I mean, you can't, the court won't allow you, I don't believe, money for a trial. So,
So are we in agreement with this? Send them a letter, strongly worded, 10 days, go for it.
yeah.
Okay, is that all right? Tom, Amy? Okay. Thank you. I feel much better now.
So you would draw up some sample letters?
Oh, I've got enough, I know what you want. It's the 1 year is the key thing.
How about your report, Mike?
My report, you have a copy of my monthly activities, a lot of these things that we've talked about are on there. Other than that, issued a few permits, closed a few projects out, received a few complaints, still working on some. But basically the same thing, nothing new.
Well,
I can't tell you IBM's coming to town, so.
Bummer.
Mike? Tom,
Any bites on the plaza?
did you have a chance to call Kim about the garbage?
Oh, no, I didn't. I was gonna wait till, if they wasn't done today, I was gonna call tomorrow.
We had a bit of a discussion about that in the beginning here, about garbage on
Yeah.
CD.
Yes, we
every
were discussing
It's
that.
for free. Anybody interested?
Well, I checked with the court this afternoon to see if it was an eviction where they take stuff out and there's no record of any evictions, so.
They were supposed to come and get it, by the weekend, it was supposed to be done by today.
So Wednesday when I was here, I was gonna, if it's still there, I was gonna go rouse somebody.
She called me and told me that it was there, they were supposed to pick it up this weekend, so I'll call her tomorrow, and I'm
Okay.
sure they'll probably pick it up themselves.
Okay.
Since they're-
Yep, sure.
Mike, in regards to grass, we'll go back to grass and Diana asked this question. Looking through the appearance tickets and on this last one's meeting, anything go up to Clark's on Prospect Street at all?
No, what I've done is I've started on this street and worked my way down when I'm here.
Theirs actually reached over the height of this table. It was a hayfield. They managed to get through it finally a couple weeks ago, and now it's already about a foot high.
Okay. There's a few more that I've gotta get, but like I said, I've been doing them property after property on whichever street I happen to be on, and a few others I was working on South Street.
Pine Street.
Yes.
Yeah. Where was the fire on Cedar?
In the big apartment building, apparently, a wire to a heater got hot and it shorted out and it smoked, and they called the fire department. They had the power shut off, and I had to go there and make sure they rewired it correctly or fix the problem.
Where's this?
On Cedar Street.
And they did. Okay.
Yeah, they were all set by the end of the day.
Very good.
If you could give Clark a reminder, because
Strongly worded.
yeah, 'cause it's 2 or 3 times a summer while it's taken care of.
There was a couple more farther up.
It's the-
On Prospect Street, there was a couple more too, if I remember right.
Also, we seem to have a problem with the
Field
management companies, the people who are dealing with the abandoned or the
Yeah.
foreclosures. They don't seem to want to take care of the properties as they should. And Mike's been after that as well. There's one across the street from me. They pulled in last week, early last week. They pulled in, sat outside for a while, opened the door, went in, come back out, got the truck and left. They had the lawnmowers, they had everything on the back of the trailer, but they did not unload it. So these companies have to, they have to, they're getting paid to do it.
I'm gonna ticket them too, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, maybe they're being charged for mowing and they don't know it's not being done.
Well, I noticed in talking with these companies, you have to go through a parent company, and then it's 30 days before the subordinate gets the message. It's a game they play, I think. I think once we ramp it up a little bit, that they're not gonna wanna pay fines. I don't think they can ignore the court,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I think that's the route we're gonna have to go with. All right, anything else for Mike? All right. Playground is nearly completed. A few items need to be installed. Basketball hoops, top coat blacktopping for the ice rink. We'd like to put a volleyball net up and a couple of horseshoe pits. There are many folks using the park on a nightly basis with lots of excited children using the many different pieces of play equipment. There is also 4 workout stations for adults with instructional panels showing how to safely use each of the pieces of new equipment. Thanks to the DPW crew for their hard work getting the playground ready for use. This area is a huge improvement for the village center and provides more opportunities for our residents with the playground, the community garden, the disc golf course, and the picnic area, barbecue area along the river for their use and enjoyment. Water and wastewater bills are due by June 31st. Non-payment warnings will be sent shortly thereafter.
July 31st.
July 31st, thank you. July 31st. Non-payment warning letters will be sent shortly thereafter with shut-off notices sent shortly after that. Please take care of this responsibility. As a reminder, the village office is still collecting property taxes daily, 7:30 to 4 p.m. or by mail at 1104 Route 9, Champlain. For the board's information, I have not as yet determined a recommendation for a rate adjustment for the town's wastewater usage. We have a couple months before the next billing cycle, or longer if we need, before a new rate structure is determined or needs to be determined. Thank you to the pet owners who keep their pets on a leash and clean up after their dogs. The new pet stations are being used and the village is looking more presentable as a result. Thanks again for your continued effort in this important matter. I thought that I would compliment rather than complain tonight about it. I would like to personally thank Celine Paquette for her generous offer to purchase a gazebo for the village park. She has suggested we dedicate the gazebo to the residents of the village who have served in the armed forces. I think this is a very nice gesture on her part, and it will add to the attraction, if you will, to the park downtown. And also, we can add more events, music, and that will serve very well around Christmas time and, throughout the year. But this is a very generous offer. Mike has to do some groundwork. When is the anticipated
Yeah, I talked to him the other day and probably the 21st.
Of this month.
Yeah, so, the end of this week here, and probably Thursday or so, we're gonna start. And they got a very electric and it's got electrical lighting in it. Nice.
It's all-
Which side?
I know about this.
It will be
On
as
toward
you
the
face
bridge side,
the bridge
on the
side,
left
on the
side.
left.
12 by 16 oval with double cupolas and nice, all vinyl, Trex flooring.
Nice.
Beautiful.
That's exciting.
Ms. Paquette and Janet traveled to North Country looking at them and came to a decision on one that is, the pictures look very nice. I think it'll be a nice attraction for the village.
So shade, it's really good.
And she was very insistent on it. She being Ms. Paquette was very insistent on purchasing it as a way to improve the village. So, we have that. Thank you. Ms. Trombley.
Janet's not here tonight, but,
I have a report. Would you like me to do that first?
if you'd like to.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say, thanks to Jana and to Chad and Heather Deans for putting on that wonderful pet walk that we had a couple weeks ago. It was well attended and it would be nice if it became a yearly event, maybe something we could do again in the fall. All the dogs, there were many different dogs there, different breeds, and even a couple cats in a stroller. Everybody seemed to enjoy the day. Young and old were there alike, and I just wanted to thank Chad and Heather for that donation of their time to do that, and Janet for helping, and the new way station that we will get from that. And on the flip side, just a reminder to people that there is a leash law in the village, and there are still a lot of dogs that are running free. And people need to keep their dogs in their yards.
I was being nice, but you could give it me.
I had to chase.
Good cop, bad cop.
I had to chase one out of the yard the other night. Luckily, he is a very friendly dog, but when you have one dog that's loose in the neighborhood, it creates a chain reaction with all the other dogs that are in their yards. So, please be mindful of your neighbors, it's greatly appreciated.
Should we do a letter? I'm thinking it's time we do a letter to some of these pet owners.
Well, the problem is, that's a great idea, but you don't necessarily know who the pet owner is.
No, always.
Well, perhaps we can narrow it down to a few.
Can we do it on the water bill, reminder? Dogs, your pets must be something to that effect, or
They hear it every
how much
month.
would it cost for us to send a letter to every resident?
That would be expensive.
That would be expensive, yeah.
Maybe just a blurb on the bill if we,
Drive around there.
Yeah, that's it.
but it
With
is,
ice cream on the back.
it is very
Dog treat.
disturbing to the other dogs because it gets all the other dogs worked up and it creates
It does.
a massive chain reaction of barking,
Yes,
so.
I noticed one in the village here, every night goes through.
And there's a couple,
There's a bunch.
there's a couple that, I do know where they're coming from, so we could do letters to them, we don't, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's unfair to the responsible pet owners who do keep their animals in their yards.
It's a huge burden to like to do that. If we identified, even if we did 6.
Well, even for little kids playing in the yards and dogs come over and they're afraid of the dog.
Yeah,
you
or
know.
down at the
Exactly.
playground.
Exactly.
Yeah, or down on the playground.
Maybe a generic letter or something we could come up with. Once we identify who the owners are. And it's only about 48, 49 cents a letter, plus much time. And once we come up with a generic letter, we can use that repeatedly. A little blurb letter or something like, is that possible?
Oh, you want me to write the letter? Oh,
Well,
yeah.
you were in conjunction with Juanita.
No,
See?
no, that's
See,
not a
that's what
problem.
happens, you two sit next together.
Or I
next to
guess,
each other.
I will help you.
No, it's not a problem. I thought you were talking to Mike.
You can't write that.
Bouncing off me.
Yeah, right.
I was deflecting.
That's all I had.
All right, good, thank you. Amy, wanna go?
Sure, I love this mixing it up thing. Playground does look great, Mike, thank you so much, and to the staff. It is very exciting. I was taking a look and we're missing one category of children in there, the very small, toddlers or people crawling. And I was looking at some things online that are really, they can be on their hands and knees, and it's kind of a hands thing for them to be playing with. They're really kind of cool. And I saw some both at Lowe's and at Home Depot, and both of those offer assistance and grants, so maybe we can get the piece. But I kind of wanted to get a final count where we're at with monies and, whether I need to write some more grants to kind of fill in the hole, so we're hitting every category of the family.
Yeah, 66.
66. Okay. But of that, what's targeted for, the fencing and the hoops?
That's not gonna cover the fencing.
Yeah, no. So, do I need to be looking for a grant for the fencing, because that's safety, health and safety, that's a big piece.
Basketball court and other properties.
Is there a lot of really through like health and wellness and
Lots through health and wellness things. So, that's what we focus on for the fencing, because that's a safety issue.
That would work around the garden.
Okay.
Not garden.
Yes, I know,
but,
the basketball court. Are you gonna do it around the whole playground?
No,
Oh, okay,
We need it to the front near the street.
right,
Front and
And there
10-foot
are-
weight on both ends.
okay, yeah.
there are some other properties down on River Street that you really should fence in if we're going to put a PV, a small kids soccer field on there.
So we can't put fencing in?
Well, we're gonna discuss that, but we can discuss it now if you wish.
We're jumping all over this.
It's Amy's
Well, that's all right, it's on the agenda. I had a conversation with Rodney Brown, who is in charge of the FEMA purchases, the FEMA land here in Clinton County, and we discussed the idea of fences. Now, there is already a chain link fence, and I believe it's public knowledge now anyway, so there's already a chain link fence in the Paquette Park. That was part of the buyout issue, and that chain link fence is there. In discussion with Mr. Brown, he said that if we are within the right-of-way of a road, then we can install a fence. Now, the playground around the basketball court is well within the state's right-of-way. So, with what he's saying, we could install a fence there. Now, he made mention of a park in Peru where it was mainly as a pet park, pet walk, dogs, cats, whatever. They put a fence up. Upon inspection, they had to take the fence down because it wasn't meeting the requirements that FEMA has put forth. How they solved the problem was to put a breakaway fence in there. So if you end up with a flood, and really all this is because of the flow of debris, trees, stuff like that. And to me, the chunks of ice are going to melt. It's the big stuff that's coming through that's going to cause the damage to the fencing or whatever. So I think we're well within our bounds to fence in that basketball court. It is within the right of way of the state. I believe they have about 25 feet on each side.
It depends on what they claim for a road right away. There's probably 66 feet in there.
He mentioned 50, but
Yeah.
66 is a little bit. On the other areas, I'm not sure if we meet the village's right of way, but maybe we can work something out. If the village's right of way is 25 feet on each side, well, 25 feet of fencing there, to start and carry on, you can't have a 10-foot fence. So if you have 30 feet along the side, that to me is okay, because the flow of water is going to be interrupted with the houses that are there anyway. Another interesting question, I believe Mike might have brought this up, is what happens if the individual homeowner wants to put a fence up there? And I asked that to Mr. Brown, and he said, well, not a whole lot that can be done. If they're gonna put a fence up, they're gonna put a fence up.
Right.
Yeah, because
So,
they own the property.
They own the
It's not
property.
by that FEMA.
so the next question that I asked was, well, we own the property. And he was not real definitive on answering that.
Right.
I think we're well within our bounds to put a fence up. But that's up to the board. And at most, what can they make us do?
Take it down.
Take it down. It's between the two houses, so that's going to interfere with the flow of water in there.
Right.
If we have a flood of that magnitude. I just,
What if we asked the landowner if we could put the fence on their property?
well, that creates a
Like this Crohn's,
liability issue.
Yeah.
And that brings up another point where the property owner asked if the village would think about renting access to some of the property down there. I said, well, I know it's quite close to your house. It's within 6 feet.
6 foot, something.
Okay, so I said, what you need to do here is to call Rodney Brown and Mr. Brown said, no. If you can work something out with the village, with the understanding that you're only using that piece of property, you will never own that piece of property. It is something granted by the village board that allows this person to use a small section of land. You maintain it, you mow the grass, you do whatever you need to do, the improvements, but you will never own that piece of property.
What do they want to do with it?
Well, there was a driveway there.
It's a driveway, it's the
Yeah.
side of,
It's a
side of
driveway,
the
like,
house.
his driveway was there, but he's actually wasn't on his property, it's off the edge. His driveway's like this.
What about on the other side?
It's got one there, but there's duplex, there's multiple,
Two apartments.
two apartments. There's a driveway on both sides. Actually, the driveway that they've been using is actually on village property, he only owned about this much of it. The other, from here to there is on village property.
And the
They built a
second,
stake in.
the second dwelling as well, the one that's further down on River Street. There's only, what, 4 to 5 feet from the house to the property line
On one
there, where there
side.
used to be a driveway and a house.
So you're talking the soccer field between the two houses?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the level there. Over
Right.
on the other
Yes.
side,
And it gets very mucky.
yeah, but we can put a small field in there away from the damp, the wet grass, that is enough for the mites to practice on. And really, that's all they're looking for. They've run out of field space. The Recreation Commission has run out of field space for the kids to practice on.
So the request is if we could set the fence back,
Yeah,
and then use a little bit of,
yeah.
does that
But
affect,
that's
does that
just
affect
something-
us in any way if we were to set that back?
No. That's just something for the board to think about. We don't need to come to any decision this evening. I would not want you to come to any decision this evening. I think it's brought up too quick. There's too many things to think about here. So,
Yeah, and that'd be something we'd want to run by our new attorney.
yes,
Because I was just gonna have you're right.
Yeah.
yeah. So just to give you that. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, I will take a look at that and pursue that, and with, the cost of the fencing, there's a possibility that we can get that covered through health and safety grants. So I'll take a look at one for that,
Mike has
now that
some
you've got
things.
this. So that's what I really wanted to find out, what do we still have left with a total of expenses needed, and where can we focus in on? But in looking at the whole, the little tiny toddlers, if we're talking the whole family's there doing things, and what's the baby gonna do, for entertainment?
cost?
It's minimal, it's only a few $100s.
Well,
It was
why don't
$4.99,
you-
something like that.
why don't you let Mike know what it is, and,
Okay.
I mean, we can purchase it with money that we have.
True. And then just put all the money grant into the
Yeah,
fencing.
The fencing,
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be fine.
That's
I mean,
great.
the money that we have is to purchase whatever we need.
Right. And have we gotten the volleyball net and that kind of stuff yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
And Juanita's family has graciously donated another basketball hoop for home, so you can have one on each side.
There were a couple behind the booths up at St. Mary's, I don't know if they're still there.
Jan and the soccer goal too.
One net, we need one more net.
And then we have to give them a net for a replacement net. Actually, I think cheaper if they do it.
Yeah,
The soccer nets, they have everything.
and we can get the basketball poles up. All right.
So
Anything else?
just let us know what it is that,
Yep, okay. So the other thing is too, you know, do we want to build up, or is it too much trouble for you guys in the office to have equipment that people can sign out, especially during the summer months? So, you know, like for some kids, they don't have a basketball, but they'd love to play hoops. But, you know,
we
assigning
do have
out.
a couple basketballs here that I brought from my house, a soccer ball.
Well, I got a ton at home, but, you know, where we could number
Sign out
them,
loud.
sign it out. If we're gonna have a volleyball net, do we, you know, put a volleyball, or do we put a badminton net up and, you know, rackets, you know, there's so many things that we can do. Because we've got this space, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just so awesome to have all that right there.
We've had people come in and ask for a disc,
For the disc, yeah.
go down and play, and then they, when they were done, they brought them back.
Yeah, my son caught one fishing out of the river,
Yeah,
yeah.
You know, we do
It's
need
one of
to
the
do
good ones,
though, we
expensive
do need
ones.
to put the directions of the course, because we've had people call.
Yes.
yeah, we'll have to drop them after.
Yeah.
I think a full sign-out book is a good idea. That way,
Yeah.
it gives kids that come in, it gives them a sense of responsibility that they've borrowed this, they now need to bring it back,
Mhm.
so that they can borrow it again.
Yeah, just like the library.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I don't think it's much of a hassle, is it, ladies?
And with the debris, the lawn debris, that was locked on the weekend. Is it supposed to be closed on the weekends? Because that's when
It's been-
people do their work.
It's been locked and unlocked. They held sand in this weekend for the backfill the wall. So they
Okay.
piled in the driveway, I let them put it there, and they were taking it with the loader and bringing it up here to put it behind the wall at Clark's. They had loads of sand they dumped in there on, I think Saturday, Friday or Saturday. I had left it unlocked for them.
Oh,
They
okay.
dumped it, instead of dumping it in the driveway, having it all washing down the
Right, but
street.
why are we keeping it locked on the weekends?
I've been keeping it locked all the time. If somebody has debris, we were opening it for them. Because we had that stuff dumped in there, shingles and,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, a while ago, we had shingles and a bunch of stuff dumped in there. We had to pick it all out with a dumpster full of stuff,
Oh.
the garbage. So we had been keeping it locked right along, and people have been stopping and asking us, and then we open it up for them. So it's been better lately, but when will it happen again? Don't know. I mean, we had it open for a year, and it never bothered, and all of a sudden, somebody dumped a bunch of stuff in there that shouldn't have been there.
Can we put a camera there? And to alleviate that
Possible.
issue? I mean, that's a simple, no?
Houses Point tried that, to get a camera, to get high definition, to read plate numbers or to identify a person. It would have been very expensive
Oh, okay.
because of the distances.
Well, it's just too bad that, you know,
Usually
people
word
ruin
of-
it.
Word of mouth.
Takes one.
Solves it.
Yeah. Jeez. So, okay.
But if you want, we can try. Leave it unlocked for the weekend, see what happens. But DEC is very strict about that. Anything
Do
that's
they have
in
a sign there
we
Right.
have to take
stating
out.
what's allowed?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Village
Yeah.
residents.
Big sign.
Actually, if you
Village
look on
residents
the
only,
village
so-
page, Janet put the pictures of debris that they dumped in, and a picture of the sign, you know, no asphalt products, sunrise to sunset, village residents only, you know, clean debris, no bag, all loose debris. That's all in that. There's a big sign, 4 foot by 2 foot or 3 foot.
Right, so the question was sunrise to sunset, does that exclude weekends? Because, you know,
Well, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, anyway, I will pursue that, I will get the price on that and find the best price.
Spike strips.
So, and then that one item that I saw when I was in Europe, I took photographs of it because it's really cool. It's a saucer swing, and I haven't seen anything here yet, but it's especially good for little kids, so that they're, but I gotta see about weight limits and things like that, because I know our teenagers are gonna love it and wanna get in it and swing around. But it's got the 4 chains on it, and you swing on it, and it's like a big saucer in it, and you have handles to hold on to, and the kids over there were like loving it. So, I mean, I looked at playgrounds, so I was there. Yeah, why not, right? But I thought that piece was really kind of cool, so I took a picture of that, but I haven't found it yet here.
You can check the catalogs that we have.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I mean, I have been, say, putting it through, but I haven't seen that piece, but we'll keep looking for that, but I'll put a grant in for all this fencing.
Another issue while we're here in the playground, and I don't mean to interrupt, but
No, I'm good.
I would like to not include that large merry-go-round in the playground.
Not included?
Not included. I'm afraid that there's too much liability there.
The one where you run and jump on?
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah.
You've got the small one, which works for the, the smaller kids and stuff like that, just to play with it. That big one is, I think is a scary liability issue. It's up to the board. If you want Mike to install it, you can, but I think it's a huge liability.
Well, why don't we research how many accidents have been on equipment like that? We didn't have any at St. Mary's, but
Okay. That's
I'll
just a
take a
thought.
look
It's
at
the only
that.
piece that's not put in.
Yeah,
Everything
what
else is
size
done.
is that, do you know, across? It's like,
I would
6 feet,
say,
6
oh
feet?
no, it's probably,
10 or 12.
yeah,
is it? I don't know, it's on my map, I'll have to look on the map.
It's 10 or 12 feet, I think.
12,
But it
I
takes a
can
lot
go
of room,
for-
because you gotta
Can you
have
give
the
me the map
apparatus,
for
and
that?
you gotta have the room
Should
around
be
it
around
to
I think I have it on that too.
run. You know what I mean? I'm just afraid somebody's gonna get hurt.
Yeah, we had plenty of scraped knees. I know, right.
We drank water out of the water hose too.
Yes, you did.
You're gonna have scraped
Now we
knees,
go in the dark.
no question.
Share the same
A
cup.
couple kids throw up. We have water close by, right? There's a hydrant to hose it off.
Yeah.
Okay, just a thought.
I'll take a look at that.
Thank you. Any more?
No, I'm set.
Okay, good, thank you. Tom?
I know I made a report, I want to reiterate some of the thank yous, I guess. I noticed the playground looking awesome, so thanks for the crew. And I wasn't aware of Celine's generous donation, so thank you very much to Celine Paquette, that is awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Mike has
I'll give you a
pictures
picture after this.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. I'll do Janet's report. The Pet Walk raised $100 towards the purchase of another doggy waste station. The Parents Committee met, organized the next Champlain Kids Connected activity on July 19th from 10 to 11:30 at the playground, where games and races will be offered. The first farmers market will take place on July 19th from 9 a.m. to noon next to the playground. The grand opening of the disc golf course with instruction on playing, followed by a tournament that will take place on July 20th from 1 to 3. The annual summer concert in the park will be on August 3rd at 6:30, featuring local talent. A second concert is being organized for later in the summer. She has received a very good response. We have a local band that has asked for some playing time down in the park. And these are more than almost like professional players.
So that's August 3rd?
Yes, August 3rd at 6:30.
Got that. Yeah.
A second concert is being organized for later in the summer. A sincere thank you to Mike and the DPW crew for all their work on the playground. It's already a huge success. Janet accompanied Ms. Paquette to select a gazebo for the park. This is a donation from her, and I greatly appreciate her generosity, as I'm sure we all do. Spoke with Melissa McManus regarding grant money to improve areas connected to the Great Chazy River. I have a meeting tomorrow at 11 o'clock with Ms. McManus and a state representative, seeing as the state government has approved the Great Chazy River as part of the Lake Champlain initiative, which opens up some grant money for us to look at assistance in how we can develop that area. So I will meet with her and the state representative tomorrow and see where that goes. Janet is out of town with her family, so I will represent. Other concerns, Janet would like to place an order for shirts for the 5K run for the Village Fest. She needs a little bit of lead time here so that we can get them ordered, and much the same as we did last year.
When is that scheduled this year?
August 16th, 17th, Village Fest?
17th is Sunday.
16th. Thank you. Also, maybe that would be a good date for the gazebo dedication. And we also have to talk about a past motion, and this will be another official dedication for the River Street, down at River Street Park.
Riverbank
Okay.
Park?
Yeah, if we want to, we're looking at that resolution, I believe it was Amy.
Yep.
Okay, and that's what she has. Well, there's another issue here that we need to bring up. We have had, we've been requested by a number of residents here in the village to look over our regulations, if you will, dealing with fire pits, small stoves on their decks and things like that. You know, some folks like to set out, have a small fire, as long as it's a small fire. I know we have had in the past no burning in the village, but I mean, a small fire in a fire pit, you know, sounds even kind of attractive, I guess, as a meeting place, as a relaxation issue. And they've all, in fact, a couple of them come in very upset because they thought they were going to get arrested.
We talked about it, and we between those fires, period. And I can remember that conversation, but that's where we ended it. Anyways.
Okay, is the board willing to consider a moratorium over the summer to see if this becomes a problem?
The problem is with the burning, especially not so much the fire hazard, but the smell, and everyone's windows are open. And so if people are having their fires into the evening hours and people are in bed and the smoke is coming into windows, people with asthma and allergies, it really is an issue.
Could that not be a neighbor-to-neighbor issue? Do we have to have a regulation on that?
We already do a regulation.
Yeah, no, I mean, do we have to regulate that?
Do we have to regulate chickens?
Yeah. Enough said, huh? All right, well, I told the residents that I would bring this up. I would ask the board their feelings and see where that went.
You know, I would love to do, while we're talking,
Yes.
may I interrupt, Janet? Thank you. It would be worth the money, in my opinion, to do a survey of our residents and put these topics that have come up of interest. And we talk about the fire pits or the little fire. Would you be objected to? What are your objections? Would you be okay with it? Chickens, are you okay with people having 6 chickens in their yard or hens? You know, is it something you would like to see? And fine, I mean, we're talking from people that, you know, we've talked to in the village, but do we hit everybody? No, we don't hit everybody. But, I mean, as we come up with these topics, I would love to get a full feedback from people on what they thought. can we do something on Facebook but not everyone's on Facebook, our villagers aren't all on Facebook. You know, so, you know, I'd like to be able to reach and get some feedback on some of these topics that may enhance our village, and we want everyone to be happy, and we want people talking about, you know, the village of Champlain in a positive note. You know, for so long we've been the dumpy village, you know, and, you know, it's changing, and people are excited, and, you know, we want to keep it moving that direction. We want to make sure we're reaching everyone's wishes and desires.
Well, the problem is, I think the problem that comes up is how are we going to get this survey into the hands of the resident? I mean, it would have to be something that we actually handed out to them. I mean, as you stated, not everybody has Facebook, and not everybody checks the village website, although it is very attractive. And there are always comments on the Facebook pages about the village, and most of them are positive.
Right.
So we've made some giant strides in making the village a better place for people to live, to recreate, and be careful about it, and to, you know, enjoy what is here. And I agree with what you said, you know, for a long time, and I've said this to a lot of folks, for a long time, we were the ugly stepsister. And right now, we are very close to the glass slipper.
That's right, and people are taking notice, so, yeah, I'd love to keep it moving in that direction, and, you know, I hate to get stuck in, well, we've done it this way, it's been this way, let's keep it that way mode. But we have to treat all of the issues that have come to us equally.
Yeah. Well, we can do something to check the response.
Well, Tom just said something about door to door. Don't you go door to door with the water reports?
Well, those are done now, but we go door to door to read meters too.
So how about when you do meters, can you leave a survey in the door?
Sure, I'm sure they wouldn't mind. No.
Well, the next reading is August.
Yeah.
You know, and if we did it on some pretty, you know, lime or yellow, some catchy colored paper instead of just a white piece of paper.
Well,
And-
They'd have to return it.
It would be best if
Yes.
we could find something, a sheet of paper that they had their survey on, they could fold it
Exactly.
and have a postage paid sticker on there. They're more
Yes.
likely to send it back
Yeah.
to the office.
All they have to do is
You know,
tape
just
it.
fold it up, tape it, and mail it.
Yeah.
We could do that. I think at minimal cost, minimal
Oh.
effort.
Yeah, but then you don't wanna put postage on things, or however we would do that.
Right, because people won't mail
Yeah,
that
people
necessarily.
You know, some go down the street, or some, they
Well-
just throw in
Well,
the garbage.
I mean, from
It's
a,
So I don't know how we would, we could speak to the post
You're
office
gonna
and
lose
have
a
it
lot of them,
regulate
they're not gonna
how
send them
many.
back.
I can pick them up.
Goes to their system and charge.
Yeah,
But not
something,
unless
yeah.
somebody actually.
it'll be like any survey. You're only gonna get a small percentage of them.
Right.
True.
A good return is 18% on a survey.
So if we could get 18 to 20%, 1 out of 5, I think that would be a representative sample.
Well, and really out of those, you know, the people who really want to weigh in on the survey, they'll pay for a stamp
Well,
Or they
that-
can drop it in the box.
or drop in a box here, right?
Those are the ones that want the services. You know, whatever it
Yes.
is.
Right.
So, and we can look at that, yeah, I think it's a good idea.
No, it's not a bad idea. In regards to the fires, I think I said this when we talked about it in the last year or before.
Last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah.
I am not opposed to somebody having a well-controlled little patio grill, so to speak, and, you know, selling the loaves and all this stuff. It's just, how do you control that? I mean,
How you gonna enforce that when
How you
somebody
gonna
calls
enforce
at
it?
10 o'clock at night that smoke's coming into their house?
Exactly, I just
Don't
want
call
to
me.
put that out, you know, it's a double-edged blade
Yeah,
with
I
with
see
this
both
issue.
sides of this,
It's difficult, you know?
yeah.
Well, as I said, what makes it so difficult, there's so many people with asthma now, where it wasn't such an issue in the past.
Even if you don't have asthma, if you don't like smoke,
True, true.
I mean,
You wanna have your
And in the
windows open,
village,
you can't, you
we're
know?
close to each other, so it is
it makes it a problem. And I feel for the folks that wanna do it, I understand, I love the campfire and stuff, but,
Well, then you're gonna allow campers and
yeah,
tents in the backyard and
I know.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
the little monster grows, you know?
Campers all over the place.
I will contact the residents that has to be contacted, because we will stay with the overlay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're eliminating the survey?
No,
Oh.
no, I thought we were going to develop.
No, he's gonna
one.
contact the residents that talked to him about.
No, just the ones that expressed some concern over fires.
Oh.
It's only a few.
It's not gonna be one too.
Okay. Something else, let's have the report from the clerk treasurer, please.
Everyone has their expense and revenue reports for June 2014, start of the new year.
A lot of 100% sales.
We spend a lot of money.
I haven't spent a lot of money.
That's good.
I need my report here.
How close are we coming to the UniFirst contract
Oh, sorry.
while we're talking about bills?
What's
I'll come
that?
back to you.
When is that
November.
UniFirst contract up?
Is that up in November?
November?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we talked about that last time. Okay. If there's no other questions on the report, motion to pay the warrant.
We have additional
Additional,
invoices
yeah.
Yeah.
in the amount of $2,800.40. For your total warrant is gonna be $11,377.71.
I make a motion that we pay the warrant with the additional $2,800.40.
A second.
Okay. Thank you. If you have a discussion, anything on the warrant that you wish to discuss? You got the new meters, Mike?
Yes,
New meters?
we have box of new meters.
Any discussion on the warrant? Roll call, please.
Trustee Garrett?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Mayor Martin?
Aye. Before we go to correspondence, the report from the superintendent.
Been staying pretty busy with the playground. Most of the stuff is installed now. We did, I put on here, we've been installing multiple by this week, well, they got done today, so. Water readings are complete, and we have to replace 4 meters. We're slowly phasing out the old dial-style manual foot readers. We seem to find every time we read the meters that we have some broken, so as they're broken, we're changing them out to the new style census meter. Repaired a few curb box tops that were damaged or broke off. We removed the old wood plank shelving here in the garage, and installed some steel shelving that was donated by Rainey Poirier. And we're in the process of organizing our inventory, getting things straightened out, getting rid of a bunch of stuff, like our non-lead, like our brass that has lead, now it's all non-lead, all the stuff that we're gonna have to, unfortunately, scrap. We installed new gates in the water plant. The old gates, we didn't close anymore. We've been hit a few times. They've been damaged for quite some time. And they weren't closable. Somebody went in 2 weeks ago and dumped a bunch of shrubs in there and steel edging and a bunch of stuff because the gates weren't closed. So we put new gates up at the water plant. We had our annual inspection with Clinton County Health Department, and that went well. Other than that, we've just been doing miscellaneous work here, fixing the sander. We attended some safety training. Of course, mowing and trimming, that's an ongoing thing. We will be probably the end of this week, if not beginning of next week, getting the Pocket Park ready for the running electric and putting a base down for the gazebo that's being donated, and we'll thank you for that. And then we have to start on, I've got a few places we gotta do some ditching and culvert issues, Willow Street. That's been actually since last fall when they put the gas lines in, the edge of road. They put the gas line in the edge of road and it's eroding, we gotta put some culverts in there to fill that, because there's no shoulder. Same thing on Spruce Street over near Mr. Globe's. I'm gonna have to cut a driveway and there's no culvert in the driveway, washing the driveway out. They're gonna do some ditching there, and our sidewalks, they need to be going on sidewalks here. First stretch we're gonna do is from St. Mary's driveway down to the corner of Cedar. We dug out the bricks and we changed the water shut-offs. We're gonna start there and move on from there, so that's, in the next week or two here will be ditching and sidewalks will be the next adventure. Wanted to mostly get most of the playground equipment in because the kids they've been down there.
Chomping.
Oh yeah, every day. Is this gonna be open today? Can we help you shovel dirt? No, but we, the green piece in the front took us the most time because there's so many pieces and have to fit just right. There were clamps that go to the post, so. But other than that, last week, 2 days, we got all the adult stuff in, and then today we did both monkey bars, so tomorrow the guys will pull the tape off them, and all the pieces are in except for the big merry-go-round, which we'll see. Other than that, I mean, things are going smoothly, so.
With the sidewalk by St. Mary's there, are you going to get the same pavers back in there? What are your plans?
Cement.
So you're gonna have the pavers, cement,
No pavers, pull all the pavers out the corner, putting cement.
And what are you gonna do with those pavers?
They're all like this. They're gonna be put on the skid here, and then later they can go to surplus or
Used to
whatever.
fill.
I already talked to, I met with the state already about it.
Okay.
Because it's the state, and we're doing a repair, so we don't have to get it engineered. Because sometimes if you're changing, it has to be engineered and need blueprints, and I already talked to them because we're repairing, we don't have to go through that, so. We poured from St. Mary's, actually it's gonna have a slight grade, because all the water comes out of St. Mary's and runs right down in front of Reggie's, there, right down the sidewalk. So we're gonna have just a slight grade up and then all the way down through to the corner. And we'll probably end up having to go around the corner, and then I gotta decide later what we're gonna do. We've been, quite a few people, 2 or 3 approached me about Cedar Street. I don't know what we're gonna do there yet. It's gonna be there on one side or the other sidewalk. But the trouble is on the south side, everybody parks their vehicles there, so if I put sidewalk there, this winter, they can't park there, it'll be towed, so you have to get through the plow it. Do I put it on the other side and have it cross? I don't know, I'm gonna have to look at that a little more before,
I think they'll have to park on the other side.
probably. But I don't know how that works, somebody else owns that on the other side,
Still have it right away.
yeah. I mean, this winter I had problems with one, a few times we had to have it moved, but they're gonna have to do something different for next winter, because it ends up you come to plow, and you gotta go to the street and back, and it's not good. You'll have to arrange something different for the vehicles.
Any questions for Mike?
How's the old truck running? It's back, right?
No, it's still here, probably this week.
Oh, it's not, hasn't gone back yet.
Doesn't fit
I
into
thought it
this.
returned.
No.
Doesn't fit into the schedule yet.
Oh,
No,
okay.
only this week.
Okay. Did not know that.
I plan to bring, actually I'll have to bring the Peterbilt too. This month inspections out, I'll have to bring the Peterbilt up and get it inspected. And I think the van too, so we're gonna have to look at, I gotta try to get the engine light off, for the inspection for that.
You might want to look at
We can,
excising that piece of equipment.
Well,
We talked about probably replacing the trailer, I don't know if that would be useful or not.
the van,
Yeah. Yeah, but if we were to get rid of that, rather than replace it with a utility trailer, an enclosed trailer, to haul your tools around together, throw behind pickup and have a job with it.
could be. Well, basically what I was, this time of year, we use it for lawn mowing. You know, you put the push mower and trimmer and that kind of stuff, if you can't take it on the rider, on the tractor. Really, the only thing we use it for, I was gonna set it up just for water. We get a water call, the wrenches, the meters, all the parts.
So that's what I'm envisioning the trailer.
Something you just can go, everything's in there and ready.
Yeah, that's what I'm envisioning using the trailer for.
And those
Yeah,
trailers
that's a
have to drop
possibility.
down so that you could push up a lawn.
Right, yeah.
Would be a heck of a lot cheaper.
Not even under administration on the vehicle.
We can look at those. We can look at those and see what they.
I think a lot less maintenance.
For the most part, I mean, we don't, I don't
It's on its
think, I
last
don't
leg.
think we did.
Well, I think so too. And I wouldn't wanna spend, money on it, try to get a thousand inspections.
No, but if it's something simple, then maybe if we can get another, I have to, I gotta get a computer here and go and plug it in. 'Cause-
Okay, anything else for Mike? We're gonna bring him back center stage when we talk about surplus equipment and fencing and.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, I do have other quotes that I gave you. Fencing and Muffin Monster,
Okay,
I don't know,
that's all in new business.
okay, we can wait for that, or,
No,
no?
we're all mixed up anyway,
Yeah.
let's go for it.
Yeah, we haven't followed a plan
I
yet.
tell you, we made this a jazzy
I
meeting.
gave you a few, pieces of paper with some big numbers on it. First one I have here is JWC, says on the front page.
Yeah.
This is for the Muffin Monster, the hydraulic cutter head that grinds everything that goes into the sewer plant. Ours is getting worn, there's a disc broke out of it, it's starting to make noise, and I have a feeling it probably won't be too long, it's gonna quit altogether. I did get prices. The first one you see on the first page, it says repair evaluation, but I talked to them again this morning to make sure. What they do, and what, actually the one in there now, is they send you a rebuilt unit. We take they crate it, send it to us, we take our hydraulic motor fittings off ours and bolt it onto this unit, and then we put the old one in the crate and then ship it back to them. That's what the first one on here is, $11,121.
Is that an exchange unit? did you
Yeah,
say?
it's an exchange. Used to be they charge a core to do it, and they don't anymore. This is actually what they would show as a repair, but I was concerned about that, because usually you send yours and they will repair it, send it back, but I can't be without one. Really, I mean, who's in, an extra one needs a shelf. So he said, what that number was he gave me, is what they would go up to that amount to do a repair, and after that, that's the price of another one, of a rebuilt exchange. So I said, if I wanted to exchange it, he said, that's the price it would be, so.
And then,
Right. Because otherwise, they would they would look at it and evaluate it, it might be less than that, if they don't have to replace everything. But you can't really be without one. And if it's, this one here right now is 7 years old, when I put it in. The original one before that, I think, was 10 years old. It was a new one, the last one was rebuilt, just like this one is, and they exchanged it. On the second page is the same thing, but a brand new unit versus a rebuilt. That's what a brand new one costs. And on the third page, this is another company, which is Seaward Equipment. The first number is the same as your first sheet, except I think they would probably get shipped to them, and they ship it to, if you look at the JWC, that's where they're sending it to. So that's the difference between the first sheet and the first number here, 14. That's the handling fee, I'm sure, because it looks like it's going to the same place. The second number on there is supposed to be for a new unit. I don't know what manufacturer that is, it just gave me FM for a number. So that would be if you decided to buy a new unit, it would be the second number on that page, 15,935,
yeah.
versus the first page, $11,121.
The new one would be 20,000.
20,000.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, the new one from Seaworth would be 15,935
Yeah,
versus the next, the cheapest, that's the cheapest for a new one. The cheapest for a rebuild would be 11,121 for exchange.
yeah.
So, is it worth the difference? The new one they had originally gotten 10 years out of, the rebuild they've got 7 years out of. So is it really worth spending half again? Probably not. So that's, I'm not saying it has to be done today, but eventually,
Mike, on a new one though, are you getting new motors, et cetera?
No.
no, that you have all, that's only the cutting head.
It's only.
Yeah, and actually I think it even said it on some of the
New
paper.
cutter cartridge.
Yeah, that's all it is the cartridge, all the discs, and you have your own, it's a hydraulic motor that drives it, it's hopefully a 12-volt motor.
Yep.
But in the fittings, that's all you have to take off, all you're getting is a cutting head, 32-inch.
So that's all we're talking about with all three examples? right?
Yep, cutting heads.
Yeah, because it says
Oh,
less
yeah, I
motor,
read that
less
this one,
booster,
so I
less
wasn't-
spool.
Yeah, same thing on both of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that didn't give us anything on that.
All it is the cutter head that goes in there.
Oh, I see, on this one you're talking about.
Yeah.
So the first was just a rebuilt, repaired cutter head.
Yeah, I said, what it is, that price there would be an exchange, brand new and rebuilt. Well, we have to, either way, we have to take our hydraulic motor off
Right.
and bolt it to the new one that comes in.
What's the comparison in the warranties?
I think, I want to say about the same, but it goes
Yeah.
30 days, I think, on the, no, that's
30 days
right.
to activate the warranty. Exchange, send the old grinder back to one of our service centers within 30 days to activate your warranty.
Yeah.
I'll have to double check, but I want to say,
Number 8.
One
Did
year
you see-
I want to say 1 year, I think.
Great.
Oh,
Is it
yeah,
on there?
here it is, yeah, 1
Okay.
year warranty.
And it's the same as
Same as the new
rebuild.
Same as,
Yeah, it's the same thing. The new one states the same warranty.
so, sure, it goes to the same place.
I would say go to rebuild.
Number 2.
Recommendation, Mike.
My recommendation is to go with a rebuilt from GWC for exchange would be $11,121.
I agree with that.
Where would we
Now,
take
I'm
this
not-
from, Juanita?
These sewers,
Did we plan for this? Bigger?
No, something this big. You have to
But you
come out
always
of
have
the
a contingency.
now, there,
reserve,
this does have freight included.
Uh-huh.
This does have freight included when they ship it to us. I'm not 100% sure, I'm pretty sure we would have to pay the freight back to them, but I don't know for sure without talking to them. Which, we need a place we're gonna have to, and I don't know what, I'm sure truck freight.
Yeah, I don't think that, what before, like when we did those belts and that, I don't think the freight was really that bad.
No, this is heavier,
Yeah,
Quite
but
a bit
I'm
heavier.
just saying that.
cut the box, that would be boxes.
We have to have a discussion, and we don't put it included.
I know it is with, as far as getting it,
Mhm.
it's actually, I think it's in here. Freight is included with all exchange price quotes, and that, but it doesn't say freight both ways. I'm not 100% sure, maybe it is, because they're gonna send it with one in the crate, we would put it in, put the old one in the back in the crate and ship it back.
Yeah.
And I didn't clarify that to make sure, so it's possible it could be a little bit more than that if we have to pay freight back,
Freight is included on all exchange price quotes.
right? We get it here, but I wanted to
Well,
specify to get back to that. I would think
Would
it
you
would
say
be.
exchange price quotes? I would think that, yeah.
I think it might be included from reading it, but yeah, you have to
But you want
clarify
to
it.
clarify
Just to
so we
make
don't
sure.
get
It
surprised.
sounds like it is.
Do you need a roll call on this, Mayor?
Well, I need a motion first and a second.
I make a motion to purchase the rebuilt at a price of $11,121 from GWC Environmental.
Second.
And what about the fruit cost if that's, we'll call and make sure.
Don't really matter.
Yeah,
Well,
I have to send it
I
back.
mean,
No matter who
we'd
you
like
send
to
it to,
clarify
chances
that
are they're all
it is.
gonna be the same, but,
Work your magic.
we'll make sure.
If you want it,
See.
you know, if
I didn't
we
think
need to
that's
spend
how
freight,
you
we're
do
gonna spend freight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, it's either that or they're gonna, if you keep it, usually they charge you $1,000 core charge. That's what they used to do
I don't think
with the
we're afraid to
exchange
get
program.
$1,000.
No,
No,
but
we
that's what they
didn't
used to do because people wouldn't send it back.
We
Right.
did send it back, but it.
So they used to put a
it
$1,000
sounds
core
like
charge
it
on
may
them.
be included.
But he said we'll just swap, swap
We
that.
have a motion and a second. Juanita, this will come out of
We're gonna have to take it out of reserve, because
Out of
otherwise
reserve.
we're going to, our treatment and disposal was only 13,000 total for the year.
And we have sufficient funds in the reserve for cannabis. Okay? Any other discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Trustee Garrett? Aye. Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Trustee Trombley?
Aye.
Mayor Martin?
Aye. Okay, thank you. Mike, Francis?
Yeah, you all received 3 quotes for fences. We've got one from Freedom Fence Company, Plattsburgh. That's for the fence along the basketball court, which is 110 feet long, and there's a 10-foot L section on each end. That's 10-foot high fence. Also, 3 6-foot high fences down on River Street. One is 60 foot, one was 100 foot, one was 110 feet. Freedom Fence Company, the total price for installation and materials was $10,900. The first one. We also received one from Galley Construction and Remodeling for the same areas, same fencing. That was $10,480. And we received a third quote from C&E Fencing out of Plattsburgh as well, for the same areas, and for the 3 of those was $9,188. Same specs.
Yeah, some,
Yeah, I made sure, because I wanted to change it, and wanted to try to make apples to apples. The only, we didn't cross out here, but on the C&E one, where the bottom line is the optional bottom rail, which is by basically 520. Does yours say 520 or is it crossed out?
Crossed out.
Okay, because I saw was, I tried to figure it out per foot compared to the other one, it wasn't right, I called her and she did adjust it. I have a separate piece of paper with the adjustment number on it, that's what I wrote on there.
377?
Yeah, she came down to 377.
so the other ones were optional for that rail as well?
Yeah, but I added into that price on all of them. They said you should put it at the bottom rail, because that's where it's gonna get damaged. All 3 of those, I added it in. They all have 9-gauge wire, and with the bottom rail, all 3 of those quotes, that number that I wrote down there, 10, 9, 9.
So, yeah, the total amounts are, it's included then?
Yep. When you get into this, there's many ways you can do it. I mean, you can go cheaper and put a stretched wire, but it's not as durable, especially even though there's small pieces under, you start kicking against it, and then you have the wires, fencing pushed out. They recommended bottom rail. So I said put it as an line option, but all 3 places, all 3 people I talked to recommended to put in a bottom rail, so I just added it into the option, but it is in that total right there.
And we're gonna try to get grant money
Yeah.
for this? So can we
Yeah,
act
'cause I have the
this
specs
now,
on
or
it,
we-
so this way, yeah, what do you wanna do if I can try and get grant money for this? Because we'll prove it in our spending, then it's not really,
Let's,
Table it?
let's table this until we get some idea of grant funding.
okay,
You have figures now.
I'll take care of it right away.
It's not imperative that we get this done right away, but it should be done as soon as possible. But now you have figures,
So
so
maybe we
gives you a
could-
better idea.
Maybe we could address it next meeting?
Yeah, we could do that, or we can break it up and just address one at a time, if you want. Main Street fencing,
Mhm.
and then the others in addition.
Yeah, I have it, it's down here, it's 2 separate anyways.
Yeah, and there's separate quotes here for each of them. One is 4,900, option bottom rail, 390, so that would be 5290. The C&E is,
30, one from River Street is 37.99 plus
Yeah.
782.
yeah,
And
and
then
the
the
Main
one from
Street
Main
is,
Street is 42.30 plus 377.
yeah. And then it doesn't break down so much on the other galleys.
So this total, Mike, that says labor and material, that's the total?
That's total for both, everything installed,
You
both, all four.
included the lower bar in that total, you said?
Well, yes, I did.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's 4230 for C&E.
C&E, you're gonna use the B, don't use the A, because that's a light, that's 11.5 gauges of lighter fencing. See, they got an A, and they have a B, as far as the same fence, but it's
The
medium duty.
That's Freedom.
The last page.
On C&E, right here,
Oh, no.
option A, where it's under it says River Street.
Right.
We didn't use option A, because that's a thin wall fencing. See where it says 35?
Right.
We went the next further down, option B. So that price right there, $37.99, plus the $782, because you're gonna put a bottom rail instead of a
Well,
tension
that's what I was
wire.
asking. So it is plus the 782.
Yeah, and it should come out the number that I wrote on the bottom.
So,
Or did I not put a
so
number?
Main Street and C&E, if we were looking at that separately, it's 4230 plus the 377.
Yep,
Okay, that's what.
46 and
Okay,
7.
Okay, so it isn't included
And it's only included in this.
in that total down there. Okay. So we're talking 45.
4607.
Actually, it's 4600.
So we want to table this until next meeting? You have a better idea of funding cost?
I guess so, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay,
then if we had to, we could even piece it out, couldn't we?
well, we could, let's find the,
Yep.
let's find the cost, the grant possibilities, and then I think we can discuss this more, with more knowledge in August. Okay.
All right.
All
Back
right.
up to Michael.
Mike, you still up?
Need any more?
The only other thing I have is a surplus, I don't know if you got it now or.
Yep, go down.
We've got a little bit of surplus equipment, we'd like to, or some equipment we'd like to surplus that we could probably put out for bid, or, we've got an older sewer drain, it's a cable machine, with some accessories that are more on the dangerous side. I've never used that, I don't know if one of the guys who used it last time around for however long. It's an electric motor, but it does, it spins the spiral cable.
Rotor.
Basically, yeah, it's got a bunch of different powder heads on it, but it's not something we typically would use. Most of the time we use a jetter. The only time you would need something like that where you couldn't use a jetter is if you had roots. And, the jetter's not gonna do it. But it's something that I can't, it's more liability probably than currently than there is. That was the first piece of equipment. The second one was a tailgate salt spreader. We had here, it's been, I think they used it one for, I don't know if it was for the skid steer way back for sidewalks when they originally started before they got the trackless, or, but that's excess, something we're not using. We've got an old Makita demo saw that's got a burnt piston, which we since they've replaced it with a Husqvarna. That's something that's been hanging around that we should get rid of. And we've got a couple 275-gallon fuel tanks, because we switched over to natural gas here. We don't need the fuel tanks anymore.
And what about that pump, that we ordered the wrong pump? For, yes, it's been sitting back there.
What's the part of the meter, wasn't it?
Our meter.
That's a master meter, 6-inch meter with a 2-inch. I have to inquire, I have to do some inquiries about that, because I don't know if that falls under the lead-free. If something happens and it has to be lead-free, then we probably have to have scrap. I don't know, if you can't install it as of January 1st, the thing is you can't install it. Anything that's not 99.92 or whatever percent lead-free. So I have to acquire it. If the bronze has any lead in it, then it can't be used for, I mean, it could be used for maybe a fluent for sewer or something like this, but it can't be put into drinking water. system, so I don't know. I've got it to the side right now, and I'm gonna find out as far as regulations. Because I know that meter, I think it's like $7,800.
Yeah.
I don't know as of right now. I mean, it's possible, I guess you could surplus it, but I don't know, a municipality couldn't use it, and I don't know where else. I mean, if they had it in a different stream or it wasn't into a water stream, it might be all right. But as far as drinking water, they changed
All
all
right, so
the
can you look at that and
regulations.
let us know that for next meeting?
Yeah, actually, I gotta find out, probably this week, Mike will be here, and I wanna find out and see if it falls in that or not. But I know a lot of stuff is switched that way, even hydrants now, they're doing lead-free brass. And being bronze, it has probably some lead in it, so I wanna find out before. You hate to sell it to somebody, well, for one thing, you hate to put it in, you gotta take it back out, but you hate to sell it to somebody, that's gonna put it in be a violation that it's actually illegal to, they stopped them distributing it, now they stopped them from selling it. So, but I'll have to find out for sure to know before. I mean, we can,
Yeah, let us
no matter
know that.
what, I suppose it could be used somewhere, just can't be put into a municipal, into drinking water. You know, if somebody could use it for something different, maybe affluent waste, or if they had to use it for something different, as long as you let them know that it's not lead-free, I mean, it could probably be used somewhere. Just not in our, can't be put into our, chances are it can't be put into our main water supply lines, but I want to verify that first.
So
Get
with
some
this,
clarification.
the sewer drain cable machine,
Yeah,
for the random chance we'd hit roots, which could happen, what would you use in its place then, and are we gonna garner enough money just to get rid of it as opposed to saving it in case?
I mean, that's up to you guys,
I
what
don't
you
know
want
if
to
it's
do.
even functional, is it?
That's correct. Probably would move TLC. There's more of a liability actually with it, with getting hurt than there is,
Okay.
than it's worth. I mean, if something happened, most of the time it's not, we're gonna have roots, probably not gonna be in our main lines, it's gonna be in a homeowner's line. In that case, you dig it up and change the line. I mean, worst case scenario, you have to call somebody, to call the cable, somebody does a cable machine or newer style, that's not open belts and.
Elsa's Point must have one of these machines.
Actually, they do make cutter heads under jetters. That's them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got I'm sure we rented that in Maine. I'm sure I could probably get somebody to come to here. They got cutter heads that spin on their big jetter, pulls it through. So, most of the time we don't do it, and that's more for homeowners side of it, because it's a small cable. We don't usually do the homeowner side. We wouldn't do it in the house, just because something backs up and issues with.
Can we?
Make a motion to surplus these 4
Okay,
items.
I have one more
Oh,
question.
sorry.
Can we sell these fuel tanks legally?
Yeah, anybody that burns fuel oil, they're a regular oil tank, home heating fuel. Yeah, there's no issue there.
It seems like we had an issue a few years ago.
They had an army tank, and they were using it for diesel fuel. And it's not a certified UL approved, or it's not a certified
Okay.
tank. These are a regular oil tank.
We couldn't sell it, and to get rid of it, we had to cut a hole in it.
Yeah, these are a regular design for fuel oil, or
Okay, so
kerosene.
it's- all right,
They're
because-
UL rated.
They're UL rated, right? They're designed for that. The other one wasn't. It was designed probably for a water tank on the back of a military truck. It wasn't
Okay.
rated for
Can we go ahead then, sorry?
Make a motion to surplus these 4 items, the sewer drain cable, tailgate salt spreader, the demo saw, and the 2 PC. 275 gallon fuel tanks.
And a second? You have a second? Any other discussion here?
So this will have to bid, or what is this?
Yeah, let's put them over to bid.
not to dig them out, but at least we get it surplus to them as we can,
Yeah.
put it in paper.
Or we can put them in the paper altogether, and see what
Right.
kind of response we get from them. Worst comes to worst, scrap. Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any decline? Motion passes. All right, Mike, I think you're off the
hook.
you're off the hook. All right, let's do the correspondence, please.
Letter of support for waterfront revitalization program, letter to Lorraine Moynihan regarding violation, letter to Stephen Meyer from David Marshall, notice of the violation to Ron Trombley. He had 2 separate properties. Notice of the violation to Luciano Weiler. He had 2 properties. Correspondence from Diane Chamberlain, Pierre LaFlame regarding sewer credit, JCO monthly report, Clinton County Health Department 2014 water system sanitation survey report, violation letter to William Belleville, his property at 14 Spruce Street, the violation letter to Krish Mass Chair regarding his ramp construction at 1136 Route 9.
And any questions on the correspondence? In your correspondence number 6,
Just looking at it.
a request for a sewer credit. They can have a outside leak, excessive water usage. Mary researched this. Went from about 4,000 gallons to 26,000 gallons.
Do we know what was it? Did leak outside on the?
Outside faucet split. We broke on them outside, both good.
So we don't look at it?
It's already fixed, but I got there. I mean, there's no doubt that I'm sure that's what.
She's only here during the week. She travels back and
That's
forth.
it.
You know, so,
Sure, Monday through Thursday night.
yeah.
Yeah. There's no doubt that that's.
Okay, need a motion to address this.
Make a motion to honor the sewer credit in the amount of 22,000 gallons
For a total of 100.
for a total of $132.
Second.
Second, any other discussion on this?
No, because as long as we confirm that, we just.
It's been changed, I couldn't see the split one, but it was new, and there's no doubt that that's where it went. I mean, I'm sure she didn't use it, and we know,
Since it involves money, the roll call, please.
Trustee Garrett,
Aye.
trustee Trombley,
Aye.
trustee Trombley,
Aye.
Mayor Martin.
Aye. We're nearing the end, folks. The renaming of the Riverside Park. I have a minutes from October 2006. And then Ms. Gary's report. And I quote, she said the 3 name choices for the park were Riverside Park, Riverbank Park, or River's Edge Park. The sign would also state that it is in memory of William Bill Earl. She also said she hoped to get the sign donated if possible. Trustee Gehrig asked for the board's opinion regarding the name of the new park. After some discussion, a motion was made by Trustee Gehrig, seconded by Trustee Southwick, and carried, approving the name of the new park, which will be Riverbank Park in memory of William Bill Earl. And we would have a sign, some kind of signage that will designate that. I don't know that we need a new resolution. Are we comfortable with the resolution as it stands?
I think it's fine as it stands.
Okay.
Two?
Yep.
I'm comfortable with
Amy, you still,
Yep, still good.
okay, Kim, you okay with this?
Yeah.
All right, so we will just renew this motion and get this done. I think it's appropriate, and we can have that dedication on Village Fest and stuff.
it. Yeah.
You all right?
Probably gonna be done by then. Yeah.
I think so.
Thank you so much.
Well, actually, there's another
vinyl sign we can do?
Martin and Sue Bayshard.
Are you leaving it at Riverbank Park?
Riverbank Park, yes. Right? In memory of,
Well, that was the
That was the
motion.
original.
yeah.
Okay. Or, that's fine. There's Martin Bayshard in the Cornerstone Drugstore, makes these as well.
Okay.
He's the one that made the one that's down in the village park for Mondovi. I don't think we need one to put it in the ground, it's actually going to be hanging, but it's a stone. Or maybe not stone, or metal, or something thereof, for a sign.
Yeah.
What Martin does is a stone, right?
Okay. Maybe,
Like the one at St. Mary's School. I believe Bezos did that one, right in front there.
Bezos or Jessica.
Yeah, Jessica
Jessica
Poirier,
Poirier.
Yeah.
McNarian.
Maryland, but I think she's thinking more like a wooden one.
Say again?
You were thinking more like a wooden one, is that what you were thinking,
Yeah.
like the one at St. Mary's? I mean, that's up to.
I mean, we don't have to, whatever you think is best.
I don't know.
I'm not.
I think something that will last.
I was just gonna
Or
say something
even
that's
what
gonna be
about
less
at,
maintenance.
what's his face? Picturing him in the corner, does the metal,
Elm
Trombley.
Street, John?
John,
Modern
yeah,
Mechanical?
yeah, what about like a modern mechanical? I don't know if you could do a cut sign with
Do a
the
CNC
name.
machine, maybe? I
Oh,
don't
we
know.
can come in.
Yeah,
You're gonna pay for it though.
It won't be cheap, but you'd have to provide what you want.
Yeah, kind of a template.
And you have to paint it and maintain it.
and it cuts it from that black, it cuts it from that black stuff. Remember all the signs he used to donate
You
to
still need to,
the bazaar?
it still needs to be maintained though.
It's like, paint it was hard, it's also, I've got a couple of here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I know a good painter.
there you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
well,
you know
that's,
what, get some quotes. See what's gonna be the most reasonable, that would have the least amount of maintenance work.
Or see your options, what you
Yeah,
have. for it.
And you
exactly.
can always put up the bid station in whichever place.
Yeah, if we had to, yeah. We can come back and figure out what we want. That's the best to do.
Anything else?
I don't think we need a motion. We're gonna operate on this, on the motion that was offered in October 2016. This, I don't think that we can act on. Just as general knowledge, there was some discussion about putting a 30-mile-an-hour sign on Elm Street, or not Elm, yes, on Elm Street. We have a 30-mile-an-hour sign there now. We cannot, without the town's cooperation, put a sign up ourselves. We have to get the
Okay,
cooperation of the town.
I went down that road tonight purposely to see when you come off 11 and turn near the credit union,
When there's leaning.
there's one right there.
Yeah.
It's leaning over.
That's leaning over, yeah, exactly. And there's another one at our, at
No
our,
idling on the village side, it's over
yeah,
there.
there's one at our one.
Okay,
So there is a
they-
sign there.
All right, so there's.
I think they were
there's a
about
sign there.
Directions.
The end sign wasn't visible, there was too many signs there. But I know there is one there, it's in the town
If
side.
there's one before, then that
Yeah.
should be sufficient.
It is
Try
there.
not to turn,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it needs to be straightened out.
Maybe it needs to go back just a little bit.
In
No,
response,
so-
But that's the town portion, because we
Yes.
can't move it.
September 9th, 2013, in my report, Donna Barkham going through old files, found paperwork dated November 6, 1995, with an order from New York State Department of Transportation creating a 30-mile-an-hour zone from Route 11 to Elm Street village limits, which still should be in effect. So that sign is appropriate. The other question here was there a resolution and to put a sign up there? We went back to August 12th, 2013. Mayor Martin said that he has contacted the sheriff and state police regarding the speed limit sign on Elm Street from Route 11 to the village limits. Codes Officer Mike Tatro said that we would need to go through the county to put a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit sign before the village limits. Discussion followed, there was no motion made, seconded, or passed. Which
But there
was-
is a sign there.
There is
There is
one
a
there.
sign there.
So
Yeah.
we don't need to do anything.
But we were asked to look at this with the understanding that, with the thought that we had passed a resolution to a right to sign. We have not.
Right,
Yeah, I was
because we were
approached
gonna
and
check
asked.
with the town, because it was in the town portion that he wanted to sign. And then, I remember going back then and looking, there was a sign there.
Well, I was asked here, that it was in the board meeting, that the village had said that they would put a sign there. So I didn't know, I had read enough to make
But,
sure.
so Greg, there is a sign there, so
Yes.
we don't need to do anything.
No.
But there was no resolution made, seconded, or passed that said that the village board
Was going to do
was
that.
gonna put up a sign.
Right,
Okay, so as long as we all,
I remember that. So
Yes.
we were gonna talk with the town because it's on there.
that is correct. That is correct. I just wanted to point that point out
Plus,
because of a
the
request.
village, at the village limits, we
There is
have
one.
one as well,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
The other one, the first one is leaving, it says that, and I think it says no through trucks in the same one.
All right, is there any other business come before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, have a second.